Hello, fellow comrades on the fray. Accept Calvary greetings from the front. I come before you today to remind you that the die is cast. You all know that Mr. Paul Biya, the dictator of all times from Central Africa, is in the United States of America. You are all aware that when he left Cameroon, he demonstrated again to all of us of Southern Cameroon's extraction that we are nothing. That is why in his luggage, all he could see to pick is Atanga Ponji, the brute, the congenital liar, that one who lies as he breathes, because that is the only kind of person he could bring to the United States of America to come tell the world, to come fabricate stories and say, to indicate that what is happening in Southern Cameroon is child's play, that there is nothing going on, that everything is normal. Of course, I'm sure we all recall the era of Zero More. So I think that, it's so interesting to see how low A2D has descended. But of course, that is not even the news of the moment. You know, the news of the moment is the fact that Mr. Paul Biya, so conscious of his own popularity, even among the people of La République du Cameroun, because it's not just a matter of Southern Cameroons. Coming here, he knew that even the people of La République du Cameroun would come out to protest against him. That is why he had to disburse as much as $90,000, that's over 54 million CFA fund, for someone to go picking people left and right and promising them $100 a day for 5 days, including lodging and feeding in New York, to come cheer him up, to come show the world that yes, Mr. Biya is so loved by the diaspora. And of course, you could see the real on CRTV. But unfortunately, falsehood has a dazzling way of always portraying itself. That is how the American authorities, the security operatives in America, are now aware that La République du Cameroun sent people out to recruit undocumented immigrants from various African countries. And they met a Togolese, they met a Gabonese, they met people of other nationals who were wearing Cameroonian colors and saying, oh, Paul Biya, not a president. And when they were interrogated, they simply presented the truth. They are destitute. They don't have work. They don't have money. And so they could be exploited for such things. And you see, what image does this give to Mr. Paul Biya, Mr. Make-Believe? I've told you several times that these people have never faced a real-life situation like it is the case now. They are so damned with make-believe. So it has come to pass that even before the children of the Southern Cameroons descend onto New York in full force on the 22nd, because there's already a detachment there, just keeping the place warm. That before we descend onto New York on the 22nd of September, the cracks are already visible in the enemy camp. The enemy camp is already portraying itself so negatively. This is why I tell you we are in a struggle that determines its own pace. I tell you we're in a struggle where it is victory and victory alone that will be our portion. Now, let me tell you this. And I want to use this opportunity to go back home first of all, come again to the 22nd of September. You know, before Mr. Biya left Cameroon on the 14th of September, on the 13th of September, there was a high-level security meeting at the police headquarters. And of course, you know that the director of public security is from Southern Cameroons. You know that there are some prominent Southern Cameroonians in the place, but not a single one of them. I'm sure, Mr. Ngeme and the others, you can hear me. When you look at me talk, you know what I'm talking about. You can recall that you were not part of that meeting. Most of you were not even informed that such a meeting was taking place. And do you know why? Because they don't trust you anymore. Because they don't trust you. Because they consider you an enemy in the house. And this goes not only for you, it goes for all other Southern Cameroonians in the various forces, be them in be them in the gendarmerie, be them in the be them in the infantry, be them in the Marine Corps, and all the likes. That is why I'm sure you Southern Cameroonians, you know when I say it, that those of you who are sent on mission to Southern Cameroons, how do you go? You are disarmed. They make sure you don't have any weapons because they are afraid that when you suddenly see what they are doing to your kith and kindred, you may get angry and turn back on them with those same weapons. They don't trust you. So why continue to pretend to have the feeling that these are your people when they don't trust you? It's something for you to think about. And when you get there, what do they transform you into? They turn you to menial roles like spying. They now say, let them use you to spy against your brothers and sisters, to spy against a cause that is meant to liberate you and your children and future generations of Southern Cameroonians. Isn't this ridiculous? I think it is time we begin to understand that there is no more reason to be standing on the fence. You should begin to do what I call count the cost and pay the price. Do you want to remain with the enemy and tomorrow find it difficult to say to your people that you fought against them and lost? Or do you want to join your people and fight for a genuine cause and fight for something real, for something palpable, for something touchable, for something eternally true and great? This is the moment for you to make the ultimate decision. I know that you will cite obstacles. You will say, oh, you took an oath for what they call honneur et fidélité. What does honneur et fidélité look like? When you could see the video that came out just a few days ago and heard these same soldiers insulting their brothers, calling them Ambazonia, and beating them until somebody could not respond to pain anymore, an indication that was about passing out, but they were still beating and exchanging. And you, Mr. Frundi, and the SDF, you believe that me, Bakura, will stand and say these are people who will still call brothers and sisters and live with them in whatever kind of nonsense you call federation? No, we have to give this a think. And this takes me to something else. Now, at the start of this struggle, the Social Democratic Front, SDF, demonstrated that they were ready to stand with the people of Southern Cameroon who have always stood with that party, who have always identified with that political party. And so, besides a few cosmetic, street demonstrations that your parliamentarians and senators staged and tried to take advantage of the struggle, you have gone back to nil. And now, SDF operatives are also on the field, helping the CPDM, cooperating with the CPDM to ignore the directives of the governing council of the people of the Southern Cameroons. That is how I have had direct reports about Mr. Tem Peter and Mr. Aqua Party Kumbong in way coming together, CPDM, SDF coming together. Let us come together because we now have a common enemy. Because if we allow the Southern Cameroons to get independent, those of us who have already cemented political seats are going to lose those positions. We are going to become irrelevant. So the CPDM and the SDF have now become friends to fight the common enemy, who are you, who are me, who are us, the people of the Southern Cameroons. This is the time to tell these people that the cause for the freedom of the people of the Southern Cameroons goes far, 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 far beyond political leanings. We don't want to hear anything or understand anything about CPDM or SDF. The SDF was created in 1990. The SDF has fought since 1990 to bring a federal system in Cameroon. Has it ever worked? Good enough. I heard the SDF say now that they have identified two extremists in this struggle. One extremist is the government of La République du Cameroun led by Paul Biya, unwilling to talk about anything that modifies the form of the state, and the other extremists, the people of the Southern Cameroons who want total separation. But I want to say this very clearly, that it is not the SDF that's the power broker there in the middle. No, unfortunately. Mr. SDF, your strength comes from the people. And the people have made clear they are not ready for any cosmetic union whatsoever with La République du Cameroun. Choose your side. And we have said it and I repeat it, that any mayor, any parliamentarian, any senator of Southern Cameroon's extraction who doesn't take part in the serious street demonstrations that have been slated for Friday, the 22nd of September, by Sisiku, Ayuk Tabe, Tassan Wilfred, and all the members of the Southern Cameroon's governing council, you will consider yourself that you are no longer representing anybody in southern Cameroons. You will consider from that day that it is Yaoundé that will be keeping you in parliament or in the Senate, that you are no longer part of our outfit, part of our country. This is the time for you to examine your consciences and tell yourselves, people are not just getting mad. People are going through torture and suffering. The land is sick. It is time to heal the land. And you must keep aside all those political nonsense or political leanings to join the people and see exactly how we get out of this mess. That brings me to another piece of information that I also got again. That big brother, Barrister Akeremuna, who is very venerated, you know, he's one of those who has actually come out more often than not to speak the truth despite the consequences. But again, there are talks, and I insist on talks because he hasn't spoken to me though, that he wants to declare his candidature for the 2018 presidential election on the 1st of October. That's interesting, quite intriguing. Why choose the 1st of October? Is it to complete a job somebody started? The people of the Southern Cameroons will not be part of those elections in 2018 in La République du Cameroun. So if you are thinking of participating in elections in La République du Cameroun, definitely you are going to move to another country to do that. The people of the Southern Cameroons have made clear that we want to restore the independence of our land, and that has not changed. It's not going to change just anytime soon. We have also noticed some kind of worry in the minds of our people with regards to our two brothers, Barrister Nkongo Felix Agbabala and Dr. Fontem Neba, who I should congratulate, have just got very valiant and very deserving titles from their kith and the kindred. But I want to say this, that there's been a lot of talk out there of people who they are so frustrated that Barrister Bala came out and the first thing he did was to go and have a meeting with Cabral Libi, one of those who shouted loud and clear on rooftops that all those who are arrested should be handed death sentences, given exemplary punishment. And then in this fray, they have forgotten to at least say a word to those buy and seller, to those traders in southern Cameroons, to those big business people, to those bankers, to those taxi drivers, to those bike riders who for months on end shut down their businesses, protested in all forms and went through all types of torture to request their freedom. Yeah, the people are worried. I'm not saying it, but I think that despite all this, we should still be able to understand that our brothers are free at gunpoint. Free at gunpoint. Meaning they are free as long as they keep their mouths shut. So I think it's interesting for us to have some patience with them and give them the opportunity to be able to, you know, get back to the fray when the time comes, because the time will definitely come. Now, what else is Atanga Ponji planning to do? Because coming to the United States for the UN General Assembly, is build a file and they will stay behind, and the game plan, because I received a call from very high quarters in Yaoundé that they're putting together a game plan to arrest a few lads, and you know, those lads that have been mounted, and get them come on national television and confess that they were sent by the chairman of the Southern Cameroon's Governing Council, Sisiku Ayuk Tabe, to cause arson, to attack schools, to maim and kill children, so that they will use this to say, we told you these are terrorists. Mr. Paul Biya and your gang, all those tricks are known. We have come to know those tricks. And like I say, we will resist you all the way. Those kind of stupid approaches have not helped you for 11 months. They are not about to help you, not anytime soon, because the people of Southern Cameroon are determined, and we are going to go all the way. Now, for those of you who have continued to insist that you must send your children to school, despite the fact that the Governing Council has told you, hold on, because your children are not safe, you insist. Now look at what is happening. We hear of fire that way, fire up, fire down. We all know Sacred Heart was guarded by over 200 soldiers. But how comes that today we saw fire in the heart of Sacred Heart? How comes? How comes that we were able to sit and hear fire in St. Paul? How comes that will hear fire in the hostels of students at the University of Buea. How comes that all of these things are happening when the entire southern Cameroon is heavily militarized? The forces of lawlessness and disorder are at work. Your children are at risk. We have told you, keep your children safely home, because we will never be held responsible for a situation we have not created. That is why we keep insisting, keep your children home safely. When the time comes, they will get the appropriate kind of education they deserve. Now, I take you back to roads. The last time I spoke to you, I talked to you about our roads, having a lot of problems left and right. Now you have seen it for yourself. The road between Bamenda and Bafoussam has had serious troubles around Bamendu is cut again. The road between Douala and Yaoundé is now cut for the third time. What does this tell you? This is a country in decay. You see, when you build anything on falsehood, there comes a time where all of those things begin to crumble. And that is what is happening. The system is not only crumbling by itself, all of those things that symbolize this system are crumbling. Don't be deceived. Don't be deceived, dear people. This is the time for us to all put ourselves together and do what we are supposed to do. Take note, the 22nd of September is a day we are going out there to prove to the whole wide world that we are taking our destiny into our hands. We are not telling you that it is on that day that the United Nations is going to take a final decision on the issue of the Southern Cameroons. It is a day we have set aside to send another very sound and clear message to the world. So everybody must be involved. As you see, I'm already in full gear. New York is going to be wiped. So let nobody stay out. You people back home have said no weapons. The governing council insists no weapons, no guns, no machetes, no cutlasses, no sticks, nothing. Carry just peace plans, and you will move to your various palaces to inform your traditional sovereigns that the time has come for us to come back home. And those of you who are still lingering in La République du Cameroon, begin to think of retreating home. This is the message you must put so deep at the back of your mind. With respect to the 1st of October, the 1st of October is another very symbolic day. Symbolic because on that day, it's not a day we are completely settling down into our territory, but it's a day we are telling the world we are beginning to celebrate our independence. We are beginning to celebrate the restoration of our independence, and it is done. We are done with La République du Cameroon. I know I've been extremely long today, but the reason is we may not have another opportunity to chat before Friday. Make Friday a date. Don't stay behind. Don't stay behind. Don't stay behind. God is with us.